Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial I'll be showing you how to cut and sew the ruffle cuff sleeve, which is also called the poet sleeve, and you've seen that on my thumbnail, so you have an idea of what I'm talking about. All right, if this is something you're interested in, keep on watching. If you've not subscribed, please hit on the subscribe button. If you're a returning subscriber, I love you. Thank you so much. All right, let's get started. So here are the materials I'll be using for today's tutorial. As you can see, I have my fabric here, I have my tape roll, my curve ruler, my scissors, and tailor's chalk. Moving on, I'm going to place my fabric on fold, and I'll be drawing a starting line from which all my lengthwise measurements will be taken from. Okay, you could draft this out on a pattern paper before cutting on your fabric, but I'm just going to go ahead to cut this out on the fabric. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead to mark out the sleeve length, and the sleeve length I'm going to be using is 25 inches, and I'm going to be adding 2 inches extra to that. You can decide to add, and you can decide to just use the normal sleeve length. The reason why I'm adding the extra 2 inches is because I want this bullish feel at the wrist part. Permit me, for the lack of a better word. Yeah, you do get what I'm talking about though. Okay, so like I said, you can decide to add, you can decide to just use your normal sleeve length. All right, so moving on, as you can see, I drew a straight line on the marked out points. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to mark out the bicep length, and for this I'm going to be using 5 inches. All right, if you've seen my basic sleeve video, you would understand what I'm talking about. All right, for the bicep length you can use from 4 inches to 6 inches. All right, so I'm going to mark 5 inches like I said, and go ahead to roll the line out. Next, on the line that I just rolled out, I'll go ahead to mark out the bicep circumference divided by 2, and I'll be adding 1 inch seam allowance. All right, that's where we're going to get the sleeve cap, the S shape. Okay, now on the starting line I'm going to go in by 4 inches, just as you can see, and I'll remark it on the second line so I can have a straight line. So on that straight line that I just rolled out, I'm going to mark out the midpoint and then use my curve ruler to connect the folded edge of the fabric to the midpoint, and then from there down to the marked point on my bicep line. All right, I hope you understand what I just said. So just watch how I place my ruler to get that S-shape curve that we talked about earlier. All right, now the next thing I'm going to do is to confirm that I have the accurate armhole measurements that I want and still have my seam allowance. Okay, that's just what I'm doing, and I actually do have the accurate armhole measurements that I want and the seam allowance. All right, so moving on, I'm going to, on the sleeve length, I'm going to mark out the wrist circumference divided by 2, and I'm going to add 3 inches to it. Okay, because that point is going to be having an elastic band. All right, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to connect that point up to the bicep line, and there we have our sleeve. Seeing as this isn't a normal sleeve, it doesn't end here. Now we're going to go ahead to mark out the desired length for the ruffle cuff at the hem of the sleeve. All right, and I'm going to be using 4 inches for that. You can decide to use 3 inches, just whatever works for you. Okay, as long as you get the idea of what needs to be done. Like I always say, just play around it, do something, and at the end of the day it might come out nice. All right, I'm just rolling a straight line on the 4 inches marked point, just as you can see, and I'm going to connect it back to the previous line that I had rolled earlier. All right, so I'm going to proceed to cut this out now, and I'm also going to recut another of this because we need 2 sleeves, right? All right, so just watch how I go about the cutting of this sleeve pattern, although it's nothing complicated. All right. Now, as you can see, I'm done cutting. I'm just marking the wrong side of the fabric so I don't get confused when I want to stitch it. Alright, now I'm going to be cutting a 1.5 inch wide strip. Okay, and the length is going to be the sleeve circumference divided by 2 plus the 3 inches allowance, like what we just had on that point. That's what I'm going to be marking out, which is on fold as well. All right, this strip I'm talking about is going to serve as a case for the elastic. Okay, it's going to be the elastic case, and that's where we're going to pass the elastic through. All right, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting the two at once. That's why I'm doing all of this marking and all that. All right, so just watch. So here it is, I'm done cutting. Now I'm going to place it on my sleeve and just show you how I'm going to stitch it on my machine. Okay, so I'm going to fold one end. It's going to be on the 4 inches line. Okay, I made a notch while I was cutting, so I know where to place the strips exactly. All right, so just watch how it is I'm going to fold, because I'm going to fold both ends, both the upper and the lower. I hope that makes sense. All right, and I'm just going to repeat the same process for the second sleeve as well. And once I'm done stitching that, I'll come back to show you guys what we have here. So here is what it looks like after I was done stitching, as you can see. And I also stitched it on the wrong part of the fabric, just as you can see as well. I've also gone ahead to cut out my elastic band that I'll be passing through that case, and the length of the elastic band is the normal wrist circumference, no extra allowances. So I'm going to use my safety pin to pass it through, and I'll be using my pin to secure it on both ends so they don't go in and I have to go over the process again. Okay. So as you can see, I'm done, and now I'm going to head over to my machine and stitch down both ends where I used my pin to secure the elastic band from going in for both sleeves. And then I'm going to fold it, having the wrong side face me, and I'll stitch down the side with the stitching allowance that I kept for it. Okay, I'm going to do that for both the sleeves, and I'm also going to fold the hem. All right, we can't leave it that way, so I'm going to fold the hem, and once I do that, I'll iron and come back to show you guys the aftermath. So here it is, all stitched and ironed, and this is the dress I'm going to be attaching the sleeve to. In my next video, I'll show you guys how I cut and sew this particular dress. All right, so no need to worry. So I'm going to go ahead to pin each sleeve to the armhole on this dress. So just watch, and I'll go ahead to stitch with the sewing allowance, and that is all basically. So here is the final work. You can see it's sitting pretty. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the comment section. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please subscribe. Until next time, bye.